Hi, good morning, everybody. Welcome into Morning in the Word. Glad that you've joined us today, and we today are continuing our 1 week break from a study in a book by looking at a section from the book of Psalms. Today we're in Psalms chapter 12. The thing that comes to mind as I study this particular psalm is a reminder of something that I believe very much, but I don't think it gets a lot of attention in the Christian world today. And that is the reality that I believe that the good are a blessing, but the good are never designed to be a blessing just for themselves. The good are designed to be a blessing for the world. We hear Jesus speak of very famously that the leaven of the Pharisees and how it permeates the whole loaf. And it goes out and it causes the whole loaf to rise, and we recognize the influence of evil in our world. We recognize how bad people have a way of influencing otherwise good people to become bad people. That evil companions corrupt good morals, and so many other different things that make us understand and realize that the influence of the unrighteous in the world is profound. But you know what? I believe that the influence of the righteous is supposed to be every bit as profound. I believe that the good are to be a blessing to the world. I believe that it is our job to be more like Christ so that we can push back against the power of darkness in this world. I don't think that we're created to be good just for us. I don't think that we're created to be good just so that someday we can go to heaven. We will, and that is a wonderful thing. But I think the blessing is not just something that you and I will receive someday down the road at the end of this all. But I think being a blessing is a big part of the intention from the very beginning. I say that today because as I read Psalm 12, I'm reminded of that idea. At the beginning of this psalm, the psalmist laments that there's no good people to be found. He looks around and says there's no righteous people. There is a dearth, there's a lack of righteous people. And then look what he goes on to list. He says, because of that, there's lying, there's deception, there's flattery, there's boasting, there's power-hungry people taking charge, exploitation of the poor. It's a terrible, terrible place. And you know what, honestly, I think if you and I would be honest, we look at that and it sounds exceptionally modern. That list sounds a lot like what we would see on the evening news in our world today. And God, in his frustration, his annoyance, his exasperation, he rushes down, and it says, that God will rise up. He's had it. He's fed up. And he's going to come with a punitive response. But if the good people had been there in the first place, I wonder if maybe it could have been avoided. I wonder if there could have been an opportunity for people to push back so that instead of God coming with wrath, there could be a transformation of the situation, that the salt and the light, as Jesus speaks of it, could have made a difference in a flavorless and dark world. When good people cease to be the good influence that they are, we shouldn't be surprised when the bad influences of the world hold sway. But that's why we're here. And I think that's an important part of what we need to understand. It's true. If we do nothing, God will rise up. But how much better if we do something? How much better if we speak up? How much better if we stand in the gap? How much better off are we and the world around us if we take our place to push back against the darkness? You see, the good are a blessing to the world. And the world needs the light that shines into the dark, as we're called to be a continuation of Jesus's ministry. And when God's people don't rise up to do God's purpose, then God has to rise up in punishment. And maybe that'll be a good reminder for us today. How can you and I be a light in a dark world? How can you and I be an influence for good in a world that so desperately needs a reflection of a loving Savior? I hope you'll think about that as you read this chapter today. Enjoy your study, and we'll see you back in here tomorrow. Have a good day.